Welcome to the Steel Bird podcast. Starring your hosts, Corey King and Harry Rockington the Fourth, aka Brock. How's it?
What's up, man?
We ready? We here.
We here. We made it. Finally.
Week 1 of the 2024 NFL season is this week. We are days away from my Birds taking on the Green Bay Packers on Friday. What is that? September 6th.
Yep.
In Brazil. Very should be a good one. And then you guys got the Falcons on Sunday, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
That's what, 1:00 or
No, ours is going to be at 10 a.m. We play in the morning.
right? Okay, bet. Yeah, Pacific time for those listening.
Right.
We on West Coast time out here, but yeah, should be some good matchups. So yeah, today we're just going to talk about kind of just how we think the games are going to go, what we see, what we expect from our teams, and just overall like the matchup for each of our games. And then we're going to give you guys some of our bets for our games, and then just a general bet for the rest of the league for this week 1. And we're going to keep tabs on that and see if we can make some motherfucking money this year. So without further ado, man, you wanna kick us off? How's actually, no, I'll go first because my game's first. Our game is first.
Yeah.
Eagles Packers. Basically, just in terms of like the game itself, like the Eagles haven't played a playoff team in their season opener since 2018, the year after they won the Super Bowl when they played the Falcons. So just off rip, they're already starting off the season a little harder than in years past, playing a team that was a good playoff team who should have really made it to the NFC Championship if we're keeping it a stack. So,
Right.
This is a very good young team with a quarterback that I think is legit and a coach that is very good. And I think that the Eagles have a lot they're going to have to deal with defensively. And just in terms of that matchup, offense, defense, Vic Fangio currently is still kind of undecided on like who our starting linebackers are going to be and like how that rotation is going to go, which is not ideal going into a game where you have a QB that can just pick on, areas of the field, certain players. That offense may just come after us, and if we don't really know who our linebackers are going to be, that's a problem. But
Right.
On the other hand, the good news from Vic Fangio he was saying that Quinyon Mitchell is someone who is likely to play every single snap on defense, whether it's on the outside to start and then in the nickel or in the slot, whatever you want to call it. In nickel and dime packages, he'll be on the field a lot because they said he's been playing well. So that's really good to see, because I believe I saw a tweet saying that Eagles rookie corner hasn't started since the 80s. I want to say 1988 or something. So just very hard to do starting week 1 as a rookie coming in right away. So that's just, shout out to Quinyon Mitchell earning that, and, hopefully has a good rookie year and good career with us. But it's no easy task to start off against the Packers week 1 and, in a foreign country. You're not even playing in front of your fans or, at Lambeau Field. You're playing in Brazil, and it's going to be weird. I really expect like some weird stuff to happen in these international games, these Thursday, Friday games. It's never what you expect. I don't expect a ton of points and, things to go the way I want them to, but we'll see what happens. But yeah. So yeah, with that being said, just in terms of like how the Packers kind of match up, I would say, I expect to see a lot of, at least, based on how kind of their season ended, I expect them to be in 11 personnel a lot, have a lot of their receivers out there, one running back, one tight end, mix in some 12 personnel because they do have some good tight ends who can block and catch the ball. And, what was I going to say? Just kind of just how they came together last year and how they kind of finish the season is what I'm expecting they come out this year as, because from week 12 on, they were one of the best offenses in the league. I think they were first in pass DVOA and fifth in rush DVOA, and I think they had the third most explosive plays from week 12 on. So they were just really cooking as an offense. And specifically in that last game against the 49ers, it was rainy, I think, and there was stuff, there were issues all over the field, but at the same time they ran all over the 49ers. Aaron Jones had 100 something yards and really really got after them. So the Eagles are definitely going to have to stop the run. I need my guy Jordan Davis to plug up the middle, do his thing, Jalen Carter to plug up those gaps and let our linebackers make plays and stop the run early and kind of make the Packers one-dimensional and hope that we can, cover their receivers and, kind of limit Jordan Love. But I'm not expecting them to be shut down. They're well coached. They're a good team. It's gonna be a battle. I think they're gonna get theirs. We're gonna get ours. But I think it'll be a good matchup. And then in terms of the offense, for the Eagles, I'm just kind of I'm not concerned. I'm just kind of interested to see how the O-line looks. Every year since Jalen Hurts has been a starter, they've been like a top 3 O-line. So I just want to make sure and confirm that like they're still going to be a good offensive line. Maybe not as good as years past, but they should definitely be above average. And they're facing a new defensive coordinator, the Packers DC. I'm forgetting his name, but he came from Boston College. And if I'm him, I'm gonna just blitz the hell out of the Eagles because Jalen Hurts really struggled against the blitz last year. We really had no answers. It just looked all bad, and everyone and their mom knows that like Jason Kelsey made all the protection calls for the Eagles, and kind of determined how we protect and how we kind of did things against blitzes and certain looks. So if I'm the Packers DC, I'm gonna just test the Eagles and see, can Jalen Hurts and Cam Jurgens at center protect and do their thing against the blitz and handle all the pressure that's gonna come their way. But from that point on, later in the season, I fall back off that if the Eagles do have answers. But at least in this first game, I would expect a lot of pressure, a lot of blitzes, and Jalen Hurts needs to have the answers for that.
Right.
Yeah. So other than that, I still think, like, with that being said, with all the, what I think in my mind is going to go down, all the blitzing, all the way the Packers are going to try and attack our offense, I still think we're going to be able to do kind of what we've done well in years past, which is attack downfield, create explosive plays, have big plays to AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. AJ Brown is one of the, if not the best receiver in single coverage in the league. He has the highest PFF grade since 2022 in single coverage. So if you want to blitz people and just have AJ Brown on an island against a corner, good luck. And then we also have Devontae Smith, and Jahan Dotson is going to be heavily involved, all in the slot, moving around, a lot of motion. I'm expecting the Eagles to definitely get theirs. So we will see how that goes offensively. But all that to say, what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say here. I had another point, but yeah. So overall, I think it's going to be, the over under is like 48.5. I could see it getting right around there, if not under. I'm not expecting a ton of points just because first game of the year, it's in a different country. It's, 2 new coordinators for the Eagles and 1 new coordinator for the Packers. It's going to be a lot of like mistakes and stuff's gonna go wrong. There's gonna be some mishaps. So my final prediction, I would say, is an Eagles win, and I think it's gonna be close. I would think it's gonna be like 24-20 Eagles. So that's basically all I got for that.
Sure.
You can talk about the Steelers, and then I'll talk about my bet for our game.
Yeah, so just for us, obviously having a lot of little injuries here and there, specifically on the offensive line. Came out today that we got really lucky with Isaac Samalu. He's not going to play in the first game, but he's week to week. So even better news than before, because it was between him being out for the season or just missing 4 to 5 weeks. But now it's come out to say that he might be able to play under those 4 weeks. According to Mike Tomlin, said that we got very fortunate and lucky with that injury. So after week 1, he'll be week to week. So hopefully only miss 2 to 3 games at the most, and then he'll be back. With that being said, Spencer Anderson is going to make his first start. Guy that we've had for a few years out of Maryland. He's going to be making his first start there. So, he's had problems with keeping his pad level down and kind of keeping his hands, in the right position. A lot of the times he struggles with like bull rushes and stuff like that. So, got to make sure that he kind of fixes those. But the whole reason why they have him, backing up Isaac is because this summer he really made, a big leap with both those things. So hopefully he's ready for his first start. Troy Fautanu, had some participation yesterday in practice. And so he's said that he's ready to go, but obviously he has to wait for what they tell him. And Mike T has said that, he's going to go based off of how he looks in the rest of the practices coming this week. So if he's looking good, then he's going to start. If not, then they're going to go Broderick at right and Dan Moore at left tackle, because Dan can play left tackle. And so it's looking like it's either going to be that, or if Troy can go, I would assume that Broderick goes to left, but because of that elbow injury, it's kind of hard for him to fire and have his left hand out because of him wearing that brace, trying to defend the pass rush. So we'll just have to see how the rest of the week of practice goes to figure out what's going to happen with that. And then Jalen Warren actually is going to try to play. I expect him to kind of be on the snap count coming off the hamstring injury. Those can kind of linger. And so I would have had him and Najee having similar carries, maybe Najee 60, Jalen 40, but I would see Najee probably carrying it a little bit more now just because of him coming off. But it's good and encouraging to know that he's at least going to try to play and that he's cleared to play. He's been practicing, so that was good news as well. Roman Wilson, who's been out pretty much all of camp with the ankle injury, he's been working his way back slowly. And Mike T also said that he will play, but as far as how much he's involved in the game plan is yet to be determined. Just basically because obviously he's a rookie, but he missed all of camp. But knowing that he's going to get a helmet, that's just obviously encouraging to know that the injury is getting better and he's kind of getting geared up, ready to go with that. And then, so yeah, that's pretty much it for all the injuries. So that's kind of what's going to go on there. And as far as the game itself, I expect it to kind of start slow. That's kind of our MO, kind of always not, punching teams in the mouth. We kind of like, if we're going to reference like boxing, we wait to the later rounds for the knockout type of thing, but we don't start out very, very fast. So I kind of expect things to be slow and our defense to keep us in it. But I'm just curious to see how Kirk is gonna look coming off that injury. I've said it before. I really feel like people have already talked about how nasty of an injury that is, even for younger guys, but for an older dude, and especially because he didn't have as much time as like an Aaron Rodgers who had basically the entire year to recover. I'm kind of wondering, him having to scramble, running away from TJ Watt and Cam Hayward and Keanu Benton, Alex Highsmith, those guys, is he going to be able to, keep that up for the majority of the game? And then just seeing, how their new offense is going to look. We're expected to have, per usual, the top one of the top defenses in the league. We looked really good in preseason, so I'm just encouraged to see how we look versus them. And then just, regardless of us starting slow, just not seeing any mental mistakes on offense. Um, Even if we don't score the first two drives or whatever, no interceptions, fumbles, stuff like that, small things that shouldn't be happening. Um, so I'm really just expecting us to run the ball and lean on that, and then to kind of rely on splash plays with George Pickens and uh, Pat Fryermuth, just to try to get us those chunk plays down the field. But I'm expecting us to win that game. I know it's going to be tough for both squads, obviously, the first game, but I have us winning by a touchdown. I'll go 24-17. Um, and, hopefully come out that game with no injuries and no other, negative things. Just get the dub and get back to Pittsburgh.
Word. Yeah. You guys need to start off hot, winning games, because the back half of your schedule is going to be tough. So if you can pull out some wins here to start off, that would be huge for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's just what we've been the past probably 5-6 years. Just it's not good at the beginning, and so it's like how do you change that? Well, it's like play calling. Obviously, that's a big part of it. So hopefully, Arthur, his play calling allows us to start off faster than when we were with Matt Canada. But also, you just got the playmakers, and we have some guys we just don't have the amount that we would like. We don't have a 3 wide receiver threat that most teams covet or already have, and so it's going to be a lot on George Pickens, and he obviously knows that. But for now, until a wide receiver 2 emerges, Pat Fryermuth is going to get a lot of targets, and so I'm looking for him to have big games here and take some of that pressure off of GP, and hopefully that allows us to have those fast starts that we need.
Yeah, no doubt. So now just to keep it light, keep it fun here, we're gonna talk about our little on FanDuel. For those who don't know, most people, if you're listening to this, you probably are a degenerate gambler like me and Brock here. But for those of you who don't know, FanDuel has this thing called same game parlays. So essentially, you can kind of choose a few things that are going to happen in a game, or across multiple games, and if they all happen, then your bet wins, and the odds are very high to win a lot of money, because it's hard to have all these things happen. So we decided, we're gonna do some same game parlays for our teams this week and throughout the season, kind of keep track, as well as just another bet to give you guys just outside of the Eagles and Steelers. So all that to say, for me, this week, I feel like the Packers are going to be able to throw on the Eagles, but not necessarily score a lot. I think it's going to be a lot of bend, don't break, hopefully. But at the same time, I think it's going to be passes to their receivers, their tight ends. It's going to be down the field, attacking the slot or the outside, or our linebackers. It's not going to be like screen dump offs and stuff. So my same game parlay for this week is Jordan Love to have 275 plus passing yards, a Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown, Josh Jacobs to have under 17.5 receiving yards, and the total points to be under 48.5. So that right now on FanDuel is plus 29.39. So if you bet $100, you win almost $3K. So really, really good odds if you want to follow along there and roll with me. That's what I'm gonna go with this week. I'm not putting $100 on it because I ain't got it like that, but I will definitely be sprinkling a little something on that, and many others, because I'm a degenerate when it comes to the NFL. But Yeah, I forgot to mention too. One of the main things that I like about the Vic Fangio defense is like because it's a too high shell. Every play essentially there's two safeties back there. Then they can roll one down to be single high, go into a bunch of different coverages, whatever. What I like is that kind of defense or that kind of setup is supposed to and hopefully will limit a lot of big plays. And the Eagles last year from week 11 on, which is like when they kind of started collapsing from when they started playing like the Chiefs, Dolphins, 49ers. That's when the defense kind of started to unravel. The Eagles defense allowed the most big plays in the NFL from week 11 on. So that's why my kind of thinking was I'm hoping that if the Packers are going to be throwing all over us, it's going to be like dinking and dunking, 10 yards here, 12 there, but not like bombs for long scores. So that's why I'm thinking Jordan Love still gets a good amount of yards, but hopefully not a lot of touchdowns. And that's kind of my thought process with that.
Sure.
And then just another bet that I'll probably be taking this weekend for y'all to take as well. I'm gonna go with Nico Collins anytime touchdown. I don't have FanDuel up right now. I forget the exact odds on it right now. I think it was plus 150 or 160. So nothing too crazy there. But I think the Texans are gonna come out hot like they did last year, and I'm not impressed by the Colts defense at all, especially their secondary. So I think CJ Stroud's gonna get his, and they're gonna roll. So I think Nico Collins is good for a score in that game. So yeah, what you got for the Steelers?
I haven't put anything in yet, but I would say if you wanted to, as I'm just looking at it here, for me, I think they kind of just have copy and paste of Kenny Pickett's, his
Totals.
odds from last season because they have Russ 200 yards, minus 14, and that's kind of really disrespectful because like high school kids are throwing for 200 yards. That's 200 yards is not anything anymore. And
Right.
I understand, what was going on with the Broncos. I understand what happened with us with Matt Canada, but none of those things are what's going on now. Russ, his first year, as we've talked about with Sean Payton, he had a clown as his offensive coordinator. We're just going to call it what it is. I'm not even going to say the offensive coordinator's name, but he's a clown, and so that kind of hindered him, I think. And then second year he kind of bounces back. So I don't think Russ is cooked by any means. I think he's an aging quarterback. I'm not going to see him make the crazy scrambles that he's done, before. But I think his arm and his moon ball that is still there. It's just like, athletic wise, it's down a few bars, which for someone turning 36 and having the miles that he has on his body, that's completely fine. So I don't expect that to be what it was 2 years ago or 2 seasons ago. And then obviously we don't have Matt Canada anymore. And regardless of what people think of Arthur Smith as a head coach, he's not the head coach. He's calling plays just, strictly now. That's a lot different than having to call plays and be the head coach. There's a lot going on with having to handle both. And some people are just coordinators and some people are good at, being a head coach. And so I feel like, regardless of what he does, nothing is going to be as bad as what Matt Canada was doing. And so that's why I'm really not worried about that. And so that's free money right there for me if you want to just go to 200 yards. But I'm looking here and they have where you can combine his passing and rushing over 219, which he probably will scramble 2 or 3 times and that will get him, 13, 15 yards. And then he would just have to, throw for 190. So that is probably free game for y'all right there. They got Najee at plus 114 for just 60 yards. What we're going to do is just run the ball. And so regardless of our offensive line not being healthy or being maybe what it's going to be in week 8 with all the, starters and Troy and Broderick being where they want, the position that they want to be, I'm not really afraid of the Falcons defensive line whatsoever. They're okay, but they're nothing to be afraid of. And so Najee, being the type of violent big back that he is, 60 yards is not, crazy at all. And so that's definitely probably free for you right there. For the Falcons, I'm looking at, Drake London alternate receptions. You can go +5 easily. That's -192. I expect Kirk to mainly throw to him. They lost uh, blanking on his name, Rondell Moore. He's out for the season. That was going to be another gadget guy. That was going to be, a fast dude in the slot. They still have Darnell Mooney, but he hasn't been what he was when he first was with the Bears, and so I don't expect him to be much of a threat. I'm looking at, receiving wise, really Drake, and we'll see how Kyle Pitts looks. But if I'm betting on anyone to get the most targets or at least 5, I'm going to go with Drake. So you definitely can go +5 on that. And so that's kind of where I would go if you're making a parlay. Try to keep it, 3 to 4. Don't do anything crazy, and then obviously the money is up to what you see to be fit. But yeah, and then as far as like league wide, definitely agree with your Texans picks. I know a lot of people are starting to flip and be high on the Colts. I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Yeah, not this week.
That hasn't been. There's nothing to back up that. But Washington Commanders +3.5 versus the Bucks. You know what, man? I really just like Jaden Daniels, his poise. What he was able to do in the preseason and limited snaps. Like that they have the wide receiver core around him. They have the guys that he needs. The running back room is, decent. I really like Brian Robinson way more than I like Austin Eckler at this point. But offensively, everything I feel like is coming together. Their offensive line is probably the weakest point of that offense. But as long as their defense can kind of give them some help, I like +3.5 there. And I think, the Commanders are definitely going to surprise some people. I don't have them making a playoff push or anything crazy like that. But, 8 wins for them is not, crazy. 7-8 wins is not crazy. And that's not, the standard or good for a lot of the high caliber teams, but it is for them right now as, what they've been as a team in the past few years. So if you're looking for anything that is just like a straight team bet to pair with, a parlay team, I think that's a good one. And then the Bears -4.5. I had it at -4.5. I guess some people are going with Titans. I see it's at 3.5 now, but I would still say that's a good bet just because we see now that Caleb is ready. He's gonna make mistakes here and there as any rookie would, but he's as ready as anyone would want a rookie QB to be. Their offense is going to be insane, and we already know that the defense is already what it needs to be. I'm really not high on the Titans at all. They have big defensive issues. I know they've added some dudes, but their defense isn't anything to really report either. I do like Will Levis. I think he's definitely their quarterback, but I gotta see it again from him this season. Really don't like his offensive weapons. I've always been a fan of DeAndre Hopkins, but he's already what he is. He's not going to get any better, and he's had some injuries here. Calvin Ridley is going to really be their biggest threat, in my opinion. Tyler Boyd is another guy that he's going to give you what he's already giving you. He's not really anything of a threat, in my opinion. So Calvin Ridley is just going to really be take the top off guy. His routes are insane. He still has all the speed. But I'm looking Jalen Johnson. It's probably going to lock him down if I have to bet on that. So definitely think that the Bears beat them by at least a touchdown, if not more. So that would also be a bet that I'd go with too.
Nice. Yeah, let's get into grind our gears then and wrap this thing up.
Yep.
Alrighty. Let's you wanna kick us off? What you got?
Yeah,
you
I'll
got
go first because mine is real simple this week. I'm sick and tired of 49ers fans. There's one in particular that knows why because I'm a Steelers guy, so it's like our franchises don't really have beef, never have, And I never really cared about, them in particular. It's always just kind of been, Ravens have gotten good consistently, and now the Bengals, I mean, Browns, we just disrespect because we don't respect that franchise whatsoever. But really just been in division teams, and so I have a certain friend that kind of made me have a deep hatred for the 49ers. But now just
Right.
seeing, on Twitter specifically, they got their Brandon Ayuk deal done, and now Trent Williams got his deal done, and
Devastating. Yeah.
it's looking like they're gonna probably be able to pay Brock Purdy too and everything. So everything's going well with them financially, where everyone thought it was going to kind of fall apart for them. But at the end of the day, I'm just sick of them saying, see everybody in February, like Super Bowl. It's been every single year. And specifically the friend that I had that started this hatred for me, I met him in 2014, and every year since 2014, he has said that they were going to win the Super Bowl. Now, they've gone to two. I'll give him the credit with that. They've gone to two in that decade that he said that they were going to win it, but there's no rings in that decade. And so you could say what you want, Steelers haven't won since, 05, 08, but at least we have Super Bowls in the 2000s. I know we're in the 2020s, but in the 2000s, I've at least seen in my lifetime, as someone that's
Right.
almost going to be
That's the
30 years
key. In
old,
our lifetime, you gotta have one.
I've seen two. I've gotten to see two Super Bowls and remember it vividly like it was yesterday. And so, haven't had a Super Bowl since the 90s. I was actually alive, I think maybe two months old when they did win. And that's more than most of their fans can say, this specific person I'm talking about, he wasn't even alive when they won in 95. I was for, a hot second. So it's not even like it's anything to really brag about. And so they talk about the comparison between Cowboys fans and Niners fans. And I can say that at least the Niners fans can speak a little bit more just because they've been more consistent when it comes to actually reaching that game and winning the conference championships and stuff like that. Whereas the Cowboys fans are just, they're just
Yeah.
really living off the past. But the Niners are starting to enter that realm as well, where it's like, I'm sick of it until you hoist it, until Kyle Shanahan, shows that he can get it done. I don't want to hear about the 49ers anymore. I don't care about them being a top team, whatever. So I would like to say that, all the people who hate the Chiefs now and think that the Chiefs are the villains now or whatever, I would say look to the Niners, because at least you can be mad at the Chiefs for whatever reason, but they're winning. Okay, you can't be
Right.
mad at people that are getting the job done. So have the hatred if you want because they got lucky with Patrick Mahomes, whatever, but they're getting the job done. Whereas the Niners, man, they just have drafted well. You got to give them the credit there. They drafted all these dudes and make this super team, but it hasn't been enough. And so I'm done with that until it happens. Don't care. Don't want to hear about them. And that's just my thing, before we go on. Done listening, done hearing about the 49ers.
No, I'm with you. It's a good take. Definitely sick of them. Like you said, the Cowboys haven't even won the NFC championship, or I don't even think they've gotten to one in my lifetime.
I think they did
Did they?
that in Zeke's rookie year. I want to say because
Did they?
they went 13 and
I thought
3.
I thought they
13.
lost. Okay, but yeah, whatever it was.
They didn't win it. But I think they
No,
went.
yeah,
Yeah, they went to the game. I want to say their rookie year, and every year since then they didn't make it back. But
okay,
I want to say
yeah,
that's when they went.
yeah, but yeah, I too am sick of the 49ers. They kind of they they become kind of a rival with the Eagles recently, the
Right,
past couple years, because they claimed if Brock Purdy was healthy, they would have whooped us in the NFC Championship in 2022, and then they did whoop us last year. So it's just like, okay, yeah, you got it. Then they claimed they broke us because after we lost to them last year, that's kind of when we started to crumble as a team, and
right,
we lost 6 of our last 7 games to end the season. So I'm definitely sick of the 49ers as well.
right,
But yeah, I don't want to hear it. It was like in the past when the Celtics, every year everyone was saying, "Oh, the Celtics, watch out for the Celtics," and they didn't even get to a finals for 12 years, and then they got to one loss, and now they finally got over the hump. But that was my whole argument. It's like, if you haven't won if you can't remember the last time you won,
Right.
or you were a child the last time you won, then I don't want to hear it. But yeah, my take, my grind my gears segment is just kind of, I guess what grinds my gears is just kind of how the NFL like does stuff. The kind of way they process things or like make decisions. Like specifically this game with the Eagles and the Packers in Brazil. They all the players are coming out saying like, yeah, we're kind of being told don't leave our hotel rooms, don't walk around outside with your phone out or anything. Just kind of stay where you're at and just be with the team and play the game, and then we're leaving like as soon as the game's over, we're going to do press conference whatever and then leave. It's like, okay, so you're literally just flying to another country just to play the game. It's not even like like when they go to London and stuff, they kind of get to live in the city, kind of experience what it's like to be in another country, interact with fans. This is just like a straight up like transaction. It's just like, all right, you guys are going to play in front of these fans who aren't even your real fans. It's a whole nother country. They're
Right.
probably going to be cheering every time something happens. It's not like they're picking sides and
Yeah.
then you're out of there. It's kind of, I just don't understand it. If the NFL wanted to have an international game, why not put it in a place where you feel comfortable having your players,
Thank you.
be there for a whole week and make it a whole event. Don't just make it a game. Like you could have played that game anywhere, including those historic teams, the Eagles and the Packers. You could have had it at home, and it could have been a great Friday night game in America. But the
Right.
fact that they just decided, oh yeah, it's going to be in Brazil, but be careful, don't do anything, don't have fun, just play the game, and we'll make some money and get out of there. It's just, I don't like it, and I don't understand the thought process there. They're no disrespect to Brazil or Sao Paulo or wherever exactly it is. I think it's one of those cities, but you know there's a lot of other countries that they could have chose to have this game in, and make it a whole thing, and kick off the 2024 season right. But this just doesn't feel good at all, and that's part of my thinking of why the game itself is just going to be weird, and it's probably going to be bad, and people are going to be like, both these teams suck, and let's get
Yes.
the fuck out of here. And Peacock is going to be mad because no one's going to pay for Peacock to watch this game, and I don't know, it's just bad vibes all around. So that just bothers me. I hate how the NFL kind of chooses to do things. So
No, I definitely agree with that. And, me obviously being ignorant to the situation, I always, whenever you see pictures randomly of Brazil, it always looks extremely beautiful there. So obviously, I'm not hip to what goes on or has been going on there at all, because I wouldn't have thought that that's how it is. And I just
right.
saw literally, yesterday, um, Darius Slay, they were asking him about what he thought and everything. And he straight up just said, I am not excited to go there at all. He said,
Yeah.
I'm going to be in
Right.
the hotel. He's like, and I told my family, do not come. Like,
Yeah.
stay away. Do not come. This is going to be a game you guys are going to have to miss. And like, for any person to any player on either team to be taking it that serious and saying that like not even as a joke like this, then you obviously know what they've been telling them is like very serious. But it's like,
Yeah.
if it really is that bad in Brazil, like again, doesn't look like that to me. But obviously, I'm ignorant to what all
For
those things
sure.
are.
Yeah.
Why would you even do that? Because like you said, it is kind of supposed to be experience. Media is supposed to be able to cover like them going maybe to eat and going to shops or whatever,
Yeah.
going to a
Yeah.
parade or something like that's what would they love to do media and cover things. You would think that's kind of what it is, but it's like it's literally just going to be both of them, both the teams in the hotels, and they just go to the field like you said. Then they're sliding out. It's like that's kind of goofy, and it kind of just shows the NFL's hand where it's like they really just wanted to make money. Like you said, let's just make this bread real quick. And then, we can
Right.
say that they played that one game in Brazil. So it's like moving forward, it would make sense to me to make, if you're going to do these international games, for them to they could be in beautiful places, but make sure like everything is going well in that country first. And again, that's nothing to say anything against Brazil, but it's
Right.
like, what in the world are we even doing here? Like that makes no sense. So I definitely agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like they just checked off the checklist of like, okay, international game, check.
Right.
Oh, Peacock paid us a bunch to have an exclusive Friday game, check.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. That's
Yeah.
it. It's like, all right. I mean, yeah, you can do that, but what about the fucking product of an NFL experience and game and atmosphere?
Important.
Let's focus on those things instead of just grabbing checks. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see, man. Let's hope both our teams start off
Yeah.
1-0 this week, and
Awesome.
we'll get back to y'all next week and kind of recap and get into week 2 and go from there. But just make sure to like, follow, subscribe. We're on every streaming platform: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and follow us on socials at Steelbirds Podcast, at It's Your Boy CK, and at Brock_IV. And we will catch y'all next time.
Yep.